Tag team of the year.
All right, I'm about to get hot again because we didn't have a team on here that I wanted, but let's get to our nominees. We have KO and Sammy. We have FTR. We have Judgment Day, Finn, Balor.
There you go again.
And Damian Priest.
There you go again.
Callback, right, for last episode. And lastly, we have the Usos. And on my record over here, it shows that our winner, and this was super duper close, might be the closest of all of them, is KO and Sammy. My numbers are showing they won with 31% of the vote. Matt, if you can confirm that.
Let's see here.
31%.
That is it accurate? Is that 100% accurate? It is. 31% of the vote for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
And you have Usos coming in at 28%. The Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest is at 24%. And again, FTR at 17%. So again, this is probably was the closest one person vote could have changed all of it.
And let's get to it, damn it. Let's get to it.
I voted for my Judgment Days, Damian Priest and Finn Balor. And I'm going to tell you why. KO and Sammy, y'all had a wonderful moment when it came at WrestleMania night 1. Wonderful. Bravo. And I felt that I got the goosies and I remember living in that moment too. But something that Finn Balor and Damian Priest has done this whole year after they won those belts, they just ran rapid on SmackDown, on Raw, going back and forth. We saw them all the time, every day, holding nothing but gold. Every time you saw them coming in, the epitome of a tag team. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to jump in when you're getting hurt. I'm going to run interference when you getting hurt. To me, they completely was a tag team for me. Before I let y'all two go, I wish we would have had Chelsea Green and Piper Niven on here. Even on the first Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, when they first won it. To me, I really thought that they encompassed that same thing as a tag team. They were really the only women tag team in WWE. And they were makeshift in the beginning. And they still came together and they made it like a really solid group. And I really wish we could have put 5 or 6 nominees on here, but we're only stuck with 4.
So let's stay there for a second, Eshaun, and of course chime in too. So this was a collaborative effort with the three of us, with the nominees on here, and we talked, hey, is there anybody that has to be put off? Is there anybody that has to be put on the list? And Rhodesia had the tag teams. She had Chelsea and Sonya. And you guys all know we are huge fans of Chelsea Green on this pod. And I looked at that and she didn't have the Usos. And I said, look, we got to pull off a team. And it's probably going to be Chelsea and either Piper or Chelsea and Sonya, because the Usos have to be on here. And Rhodesia responded and she's like, I don't agree with it, but I'm not going to fight it. And my argument to her was Usos held the undisputed titles for the first part of the year. They main evented night 1 of WrestleMania. You have to include them, and you can't put a team on that hasn't even had a feud worth having a meaningful PLE match. Like, for me, that alone was, okay, well, we got to pull them. Because you can't pull KO and Sammy. You can't pull FTR, and Judgment Day has done incredible work all year. And maybe we could argue Damian Finn, but even Damian Finn, I think, are way above the women's championship situation from 2023. Eshaun, what's your thoughts on us having to pull off the women on that? And then, of course, you know, who you had voted and what you thought of the people's vote on that one.
I was going to let her have that one. I was going to let her be the 1% that would have voted for that tag team. Because there's no way in hell. There's no way in hell. Look, as Matt said,
I don't think anybody else would have voted either.
Hell no, I wouldn't have voted for them. God damn it.
They took Chelsea took the funk off the women's tag team belt.
And that's true.
Go ahead. Sorry.
That is true. That is true.
You know, look, I feel bad sometimes when Matt be going at his poor wife for some of her takes, man, but that was a bad one.
Not at all.
And look, and as I said, we gotta, when we was going through this, we gotta do a better job with this recency stuff. They haven't had the titles. They didn't have the titles that long. We're talking about the entire year.
But they made it important, though. They made it important.
It wasn't that important. I'm sorry, my love.
They made it.
My love.
They took.
It was not.
Chelsea. Don't forget, Piper was out for over a month, right?
Okay. So when we say Chelsea, at one point Chelsea was a tag team champion.
Tag team
remember?
of the year, not tag team.
And here's the thing. Like they need to keep. I love me some Chelsea Green. They need to continue to have things for her to do on that show.
Yep.
As a personality, as a character, but her matches. See, I have a line I say. Well, something it's okay, right? Her things are fine. A lot of her matches are not fine. Because then a lot of those tag team matches were not fine either. There wasn't, outside of Chelsea Green, there wasn't really much with their tag team reign. In a lot of ways, it's forgettable. We're not going to remember it in a couple months, to be quite honest with you. Hey, I love that you love that tag team, but the 0.1% was what we would have gotten if we put that vote on.
Well, I would get a full 1%. Because it looked like 29 people voted. So I actually would have been a lot more than 1%. Matt?
Who did you pick?
I went Usos. I just thought that they're for a good part of the year, they were very powerful. I thought they were just the best tag team in all of the worlds. Right. I gotta get on the plural thing too, man. I think it's something we do in Detroit. We add them plurals to everything, so I ain't gonna knock her for that. But yeah, the Usos, I gave them they were my vote because they would just match after match, banger after banger. And then plus they had that great match with their cousin and their brother, right? One of the better finishes, surprising finishes. I just thought they had a great run for the year. Finn and Priest, I think they were number 2 for me. Just again, it's more recent. They lost the titles a couple of times. And I just don't think they had the run like the Usos had as far as match quality and storyline. Just for me.
So I remember when the Usos, when we came into Mania, and again, this probably had a lot to do with Sammy and KO too, and how much we were behind them. I wanted the Usos to drop the titles. I wanted to. I'd never found myself saying that I wanted Finn and Damian to drop the titles.
Not yet.
And for me, that's the bigger difference. That's the reason why I didn't vote for the Usos.
Usos had it for a long time too, though.
They had it for a long time, and don't forget, you wanted them to lose the titles because of the story. Then beautiful story we got of Sammy and the Bloodline at Rumble, and then Sammy losing to Roman at Elimination Chamber, and then Sammy and KO getting back together. Remember, they were beefed out for months before that, so that was the perfect story for you to want. Like, if anybody was still cheering for the Usos, unless you are just the biggest Bloodline fan, you got tattoos all over the place, or you're Samoan, I don't know how you would have wanted the Usos to win that. No. But I was actually in the minority on this. I was in the 17% of FTR. I voted FTR. And it was strictly because of the matches that they did in 2023. They had arguably one of the matches of the year. 2 out of 3 falls on Collision with Jay White and Juice Robinson. They showed up and showed out at All In. We know how good they are. I don't have to go over the matches, but that was who I went for. I would have went Judgment Day if we had a group of the year. I would have went Judgment Day.
Faction of the year, definitely they would have won hands down.
Yep. Yeah, it would have been just like CM Punk, surprise of the year. CM Punk winning hands down. Judgment Day would have won group of the year hands down. Yeah. And I think that's why we didn't do that one, because outside of Bullet Club, I don't even think we could come up with 4 that even have a shot of beating Judgment Day.
Nope.
What were you about to say, Rhodesia?
On the FTR one, am I mixing my years up when they went against the Briscoes? Was their finality in 2022, or was that this year in January?
2022. If I'm not mistaken. Unless no, because Jay's been gone now, I think, for a year, right? So it couldn't have been this year.
I thought it was at either the turn in the year or at the end of the year.
And last thing, real quick on FTR, they would have been higher for me if I feel like creatively they blanketed them for much of the year, right? Like something, they'll have a couple of hot matches and then you wouldn't hear from them for a while, and then they'll pop up again. I just don't feel like they were put in a position to fully showcase their title runs. And for me, KO and Sammy, like, I was with you guys as far as wanting them to beat the Usos. Magical story, great storytelling. But then after they won, right? I don't know if Matt was watching NWA like that back in the day. It's almost like when Sting won the World Championship from Ric Flair. Like, everyone wanted Sting to beat Flair. And then once he got the title, it wasn't as satisfying. And that's how I kind of felt like
it's not what
KO and Sammy was. Like their title reign after the fact wasn't as important as them winning. And I felt like Usos were important their entire reign. Magical story. And then I feel like even, with Priest and Finn, I feel like their title reigns are a little bit more important than KO and Sammy's were. But hey, that's why we put this to a vote with our fans. They chose who they wanted to win. So,
and I think too and that's a great point with KO and Sammy. And you brought up creative with FTR. It was a creative with KO and Sammy. After Mania, it felt like now what? But then they kept just going against the Judgment Day every damn Monday Night Raw. It was a main event somehow of the Judgment Day and KO and Sammy, albeit a tag match, albeit a singles match. It was just, that was it. And they just ran it until they dropped the titles. So, but everybody on there, once again, shout out to them for being on there. Top 4.
But even like when we look at this tag team, even us, the three of us, is similar to what Twitter is. It's pretty much anybody to grab that category, and none of us had the same answer either. No. So wonderful tag team divisions in the WWE we see here. All right, are we ready?
Shot. Yes, that's a shot though. Go ahead.